back here in the back? I'm not seeing. Yes, yes, sir.
I've got a comment question.
A comment question. All right.
Going back to the Water Quality Control Board, a year ago they threw on this thing about septic tanks.
Yes.
I think they informed and including that. But the other issue that goes on to the board is simply want to create
Right. The question has to do with these water quality districts. I think there's 13 of them in California, as I recall. And the thought that many of them promulgate regulations and get involved in things to perpetuate themselves and to have a justification for more staff. You don't think government would ever do that, do you? A few months ago, a Democrat from Marin County named Jared Huffman, who used to be the executive director of the Natural Resources Defense Council before he was elected, he had a bill that gave the authority to the Air Resources Board that when they find someone for violating, spewing out too much carbon dioxide, that they get to keep the fine to help run their own operations. Can you say conflict of interest? I couldn't believe it. I mean, I could believe it, but I couldn't believe it. That's the sort of fight that we're engaged in. And for him, it was just common sense. Oh yeah, let them have the ability to generate their own budget. That way the general fund doesn't have to fund them. Oh, jeez. Yes, ma'am. Yes. The question is, I was talking about bringing in $16 billion into the state for this oil and gas lease idea. How do we prevent them from squandering it like they do everything else? You're right. That's the bad half of my plan. It just gives government more money to spend. And I'm not in the majority. We're outnumbered almost 2 to 1. And the governor has been not so reliable recently, has he? So, I mean, my opportunity is to say, here is a free market way of giving the state of California more money without taxes. It creates 7,000 direct jobs pulling the oil out of the ground. It is good for the environment because it's actually more safe to extract, refine, and use the oil locally than it is to pay somebody to put it on a super tanker from 10,000 miles away and ship it to America. And it's actually better for our economy because you keep the dollars in America rather than ship it to places like Iran or Saudi Arabia or Venezuela. But you're right, and I don't have much of an answer for that other than the fact that at least it's not tax money, and at least it does the right thing in putting people to work and getting more oil out of the ground. It's the same challenge that we've had year after year. How do you stop them from spending all the money? They run out of money. That's how it stops. Yes, sir. All right. Where does it get to the point where the state literally declares bankruptcy? Here is something that's going to be very hard for all of you to hear. In federal bankruptcy law, there are no provisions for states to declare bankruptcy. We are sovereign entities. What that means practically is that if we get into trouble and run out of money, we, meaning your government, simply takes your money. And then we're no longer bankrupt, but you are. That's how it works. Okay? So, now, if you think this won't happen, believe me, a federal judge or a state judge could just get in there and say, you know something, all these people who don't work and who need all this money to live on their welfare, and all these kids who need to be educated, they have to be educated. The people on welfare have to have their food. The people who are indigent need medical care, they need that medical care. So we will simply, through judicial fiat, take whatever assets we need to make it work. That's what will happen if it gets that bad.
Yes, sir. Back there, you cannot have an honest government with the abolition of Bible principles at the same time.
Well, you're talking about what President Adams said, right? What did President John Adams say about our Constitution? He said that our Constitution was made for a moral and a religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the task of any other. Why did he say that? Because our Constitution envisions a light touch government that can have a light touch because a majority of Americans would be self-restrained. You see, that's what liberty is all about. Liberty is a unique word that only applies to humans. It does not apply to animals. A horse cannot have liberty. A horse can have freedom. A person can have freedom. But a horse cannot have liberty. Only a human can have liberty. And a proper exercise of liberty is doing what is in your interest in a responsible way. So, yes, in the back.
I heard that they are eyeing Prop 13 for homeowners. Is that true?
Yes, Prop 13 is always being eyed by the people who...
Maybe you didn't have to deal with all this stuff. My son can't get a job. I couldn't get a job. I attempt. You know, and I'm tired of it. He goes to the hospital being pounded because he can't pay. He has no job. He used to be a blogger for all of you who enjoy toilet paper products. You know, everybody in blogging, they left mistakes.
Right.
So what are you going to do that's different than barber boxing?
Right.
Well, I thought I gave a good shot at what I'm going to do that's different than Barbara Boxer in my warm-up, but I'll tell you, more freedom, less government. You know, less regulations, less taxes. More free market and less government stimulus. More real jobs and less fake jobs funded through borrowed money from China. Say again?
You know the economy out there?
Yes, sir.
What is it? 12.7%.
It's higher than that in reality.
Yeah, in reality it is. So where are you bringing the jobs?
All right. I'll tell you. First of all, it's not going to be through government spending. Because if you borrow money or take money from other Americans to give it to another set of Americans, you're destroying jobs at the same time you're creating them. That doesn't create a net of jobs.
That's not answering it. Where are the jobs?
Are you going to let me answer the question, sir? All right. Thank you. So, the fact is that America has the second highest corporate tax rate in the industrialized world. You know where the highest is? Japan. Isn't really working out real well for them, is it? Tell you another thing. America, the Federal Register, which is the book that has all the federal regulations, is now more than double the size that it was under Ronald Reagan. Now, at the state level, state regulations, how many small business owners do we have here? Okay, that's what I thought. The state regulations in California are among the very worst in the entire country. Now, as a senator, I can't have direct impact on state regulations, but I can a bit on the federal regulations. Those state regulations in California, you know how much they cost the average business owner every year to comply with? $135,000 a year. You know the total cost in the state of California for regulations at the state level is almost $500 billion a year. You know that's more than 4 times the general fund budget that's funded with all of your taxes? Forbes magazine says California, we're hearing some feedback on the microphone, sir. Forbes magazine says that California has the worst tax and regulatory climate of any state in the nation. We're number 50. And that is why 3,000 productive tax-paying Californians are leaving California every week. They're going to places like Nevada and Texas where there's no income taxes. And so as a U.S. Senator, here's some of the things that we can do about it.
Where's the job?
California is heavily dependent on capital formation, meaning that when money comes into the state, we can create jobs. And when money doesn't come into the state, we're not creating jobs.